like in that moment when I hit that pen, there were some kind of mixed feelings, and I didn't really know how to react to that. I was a little bit more shy at this time. Like if that would happen today, I would just tell him to fuck.
Welcome everyone to the first/second episode of the Loose Scroll podcast. Today I am joined, of course, by the co-host Namiko in the bottom here.
Hello. Nice to meet you all.
And today's guest, of course, as you can see, is Jules. I think Jules needs no introduction, but for the two people in the world, of the BDO world at least, that don't know you, can you just say a few words about yourself?
I'm DJules, and I started playing BDO in April 2016. On the 16th of April, I remember that date. Changed my life in many ways, some good ways, some bad ways. And I started as not as a streamer. I wasn't streaming at this time at all. I was just grinding 24/7. I loved the grind in BDO, I loved the PvE in BDO. Then a few months later, I joined the first Siege guild, and then my enhancing stream started, and I got kinda popular in the BDO community for my Friday enhancing streams. And yeah, the rest is history, I think.
The rest is history, indeed.
Certainly is. Speaking of like your memories in BDO, what was your first memory of BDO that you remember? Like when you first loaded the game up, the beautiful landscapes, or what was your first kind of memory in the game?
Okay, so I'm not a big fan of graphics. I don't really care about graphics in video games. What my first real memory is, that wasn't really when I first loaded into the game. But when I really started the grind, and that was when Swordsons was the most popular grinding sport in the game, and we had to grind it in 5-man parties. And it was like the pre-level 55 or the journey to level 55. And the spots were so crowded. That my party and we set an alarm to 5 a.m. in the morning, and we started grinding at 5 a.m. and we just went all day until we lost the spot. We took turns on eating, so that always at least 4 people are doing the circles, that we don't lose our rotation. Like one person goes to eat, it comes back, and then the next person goes to eat. Like the real MMO no life experience.
And group grinding back then was not like group grinding now. Like now you have the pools, you have a bit more complex mechanics. Back then, 5-man was like 5 people going in a direction, kind of chaotic. Whoever everyone does their own thing in a way, almost.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
You had to use wagons and stuff.
The wagons, of course, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because silver.
The worst part is you had to deliver your trash loot to your container in Kusha.
Yeah, the
and
housing
then
Kusha.
At some point you had to turn in the trash loot for gold bars, and you had to run back between Zama Outpost and Kusha back and forth. If you imagine how the grind worked back in days compared to today, that we actually did that, how tedious it was to grind in BDO. Every strings attached to it. There were no infinite potions. You had to go back buy potions and stuff. There were no mates. We didn't even have mates.
I had a friend who got master trading with trading the pirate coins from, of course, pirate coin to the pirate island to Valencia.
Yeah.
That brings me to another memory.
They used to be big money.
So I was grinding pirates 24/7 on my sword, and to get, I think, level 60 was the big goal. I think everything above level 60 was just complete insane. Even though I think even Grim Reaper's Judgment was locked behind level 62 on sword, if I remember correctly. I think there was the last level was
maybe the last level
was level 62.
Of Karshan, maybe, or Grim Reaper. Yeah.
I would turn in my coins from Pirate Island, from these hours, hundreds of hours of Pirate Island grinding. I would turn in the coins in Shikatu. And after turning in 10,000 of these coins, I saw a little icon in the down right corner which said bargain. And I was like, what is that? And I clicked on that, and I played the little mini game, and I got 30% more for my coins.
No. You never bargained?
That was one of my first memories. Yeah.
To be fair, back then, this is I'm gonna be full boomer. Back then, information about BDO was super scarce. You could not find like now you go on YouTube, on Twitch, you ask Choice, you ask the big streamers, they have 5 years of experience, they tell you everything. Back then there were no guides, there were like a few cryptic videos in Korean, like that you had to ask Korean streamers that could like barely put two English sentences together. It was like the Wild West. We didn't know anything.
Just like a lot of the stuff in the game was like he said, she said, more so than this is how it is from the game and stuff like this. So
true.
Yeah.
It was similar to the Pokemon feel, you know, like if you go on the boat and then you push the box, then you unlock the secret Pokemon. It was like the same level of tinfoil in the BDO early days.
Yeah, especially because it turned later out that the Korean community didn't knew nearly as much about the game as everyone expected them to.
Yes.
Because there was this incident of, I think it was Sorks from Enemy, like Ayin and Cass, that figured out that there wasn't enough accuracy in the game for Sorks, pre-Jin Vipers and pre-Elkers and stuff. We only had red coral earrings. We didn't know for sure that there was even accuracy on items like crescent rings.
True.
So, but even with the accuracy offhand, there wasn't enough accuracy in the game for a Sork, while in KR, even the most popular Sorks would run the Nuver, would run Tomb Raid earrings. I'm gonna say it was like, especially like on a lot of people from EU that figured out really the stuff that would later change how people geared in video.
No, there was the meme back then, right? Like NA was a full AP monkey with Nuver, and I think there's like a popular clip of Lakari keeping the accuracy offhand, doing more damage and being absolutely shocked, like mind blown that less AP was doing more damage.
Yeah.
Is wild. You actually unlocked a core memory I completely forgot about. We absolutely didn't know that accessories gave base accuracy. Like there was the tooltip just said AP whatever, right? And I remember someone on the forum saying, guys, yellow accessories give accuracy. And I'm like, this guy is an idiot. He doesn't know anything. This is trolling. But yeah, like
crazy.
We had three BDO boomers. How did you find out about BDO? Like, what were you doing before BDO?
I was playing Arcage. I was playing Arcage with friends, and they told me go play BDO. Go, especially my good friend Fenresolve told me every day, go play BDO, go play BDO. And at some point, I gave in and gave it a shot. Arcage was kind of dying, or basically already dead at this time, sadly. And that's how I got into BDO. I never look for new video games. It just, like, I also don't change my games frequently, or I play a game and I play that, and maybe at some point, often years later, something happens, and then I play a different game. But I would never look, are there other MMOs that I can play or something? I don't know, I never did that. I started playing MMOs in 2003, closed EU beta of World of Warcraft Vanilla, and I played World of Warcraft until 2012 when someone told me, hey, try out Arcage, and I played Arcage until 2016 when someone told me, play BDO, you know? That's just...
This almost how MMOs are supposed to be played in a way. Like, you're not supposed to quit an MMO. I know it sounds terrible, but these are games that are played throughout a long period of time, right? That's where they should be best enjoyed. But then I also have the feeling that there's like two ways of playing MMOs. You either only play the start of an MMO and then just quit, or you just stick to one and play forever. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I think we all three can tend to stick to the same game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess mine's kind of the same. Back in the day, I played like a lot of like browser kind of games, which were like, chat room games and stuff like that, like Gaia Online and stuff. And then I went to like RuneScape, and then I went to World of Warcraft, and I stuck with WoW for like 10 years or 12 years or something like that, a very long time. And then I eventually got into BDO as well. Just speaking about MMOs, are there there's obviously new MMOs coming around the corner and stuff like that. Are you interested in any of the other MMOs that are coming in the future, by any chance? Or is like video your only thing?
I still didn't watch the video. There was no video about Throne and Liberty, I think the game is called.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch it. Everyone's telling me to watch it. I keep forgetting it. So there's one thing that I don't like being about upcoming MMOs. I remember, I think that was like 4 years ago when people told me, "Did you hear about this upcoming MMO, Ashes of Creation?" Okay, then I watched some mini trailer and people told me, and I was like, "Okay, when is this getting released?" Well, maybe in 2026. And I think, okay, so am I supposed to be hyped now and be like, "Hey guys, 8 years from now, we go play Ashes of Creation. Is gonna be amazing." Nah, that is just not like I am the kind of person. I can look forward to something that is happening next week, maybe to something that is happening next month, but I'm not getting hyped for something that is happening 6 months down the road because life changes so quickly, and who knows where I am in 6 months from now. And then,
true.
Desperately looking for information, especially like you start digging into an upcoming game and you like read these information that are like you don't really gain more knowledge because there is none. The game is getting released in 2 years from now, and there's absolutely nothing right now that you can like discover about it that gets you closer to the game, that gives you more information. So I'm just gonna wait, and if a new MMO is getting released that I'm interested in, then I'm gonna install it. I'm gonna start playing it, and you know,
Tron and
then I
Liberty
stick to it or not and make up my mind.
It should come out soon, like 2023. I think it's been confirmed.
Half a year, I think.
For
About 6
2023
months or something, from what I know.
But you did play. I think you played New World quite a bit, right? I saw you streamed the game.
I gave New World. I played it during beta a long time ago. I really liked the game.
Okay.
I played it then on release. I also liked the game a lot. I was sick when it got released, and I couldn't stream for like 2 weeks, but I could play, and so I played New World for 2 weeks straight. I really liked the game. It was different than BDO. I liked the combat in New World a lot because it was slower and not so mechanically. There were some mechanics, but compared to BDO, like in BDO, you can overwhelm your opponent completely with mechanics. And in New World, it was more, tactically waiting a bit. And
I take it that
really
you haven't played
that.
Succession Nova, right? In recent times.
No. Okay, that's not the classes that I played. My recent classes that I PvP'd with were Succession Mewa. I played a lot of Succession Sword, even though I still don't know how to combo on a Succession Sword. As you pointed out, Heedun, I think it was back during Kakao Games times. I just I played Succession Sword and mainly for Node Wars and Sieges. Because we're like the evasion meme times when everyone would run the Muskin boots and the Libu gloves and the Kutum, and Succession Sword was just giga stacked with accuracy. So I just went full glass cannon on.
It was also kind of broken.
Succession Sword. And just through Dream of Dooms and Abyssal Flames and top fragged these Node Wars. And I top fragged endgame Node Wars with that, but I didn't know a single combo. And then there was this Archer tournament, like I think Endlave or so hosted it, and invited us. We played on one team, and I accidentally CC'd someone. You were already dead. I accidentally CC'd someone, and I didn't know what to do now because usually I just use random abilities and the opponent dies because of my gear, right? So and that was try characters and didn't work. I didn't know how to combo, and you said, someone needs to watch a combo guide.
To be fair, yeah, like it's like if you're used to play with full gear, then when you get to even Solare nowadays, the game is completely different.
Yeah.
You need
And I don't like that at all. Like I don't like that the game is different. Like the game being different everywhere and feeling different everywhere. The Gearcat sieges are different than the Uncat sieges, like completely different. The Arena of Zola is different than Open World PvP. RBF is then again different because of that damage reduction mechanic that they implemented.
True.
Everywhere you play this game, the game feels different, and I don't think that that's healthy for the game.
You could say it's not too bad of an idea because you can pick what you like in a way. But I also agree that they try to, I feel like they try to balance the game with like 10 different ways of playing the game, and that's very much impossible.
end result is that the game isn't balanced for anything.
Yeah.
Like you can't even balance a game for 3v3 and 100 versus 100 fights. Like, how do you want to balance classes that they are decent and well balanced in a 3 versus 3 environment? Then you maybe even put dueling in, because some people are into dueling. There are also maybe tournaments or something like best in class or whatever that are dueling, and then you it's a bit messy.
Yeah, they can't really go back though now, right?
Oh yeah, not now. We have like the Node War system coming tomorrow as well, right? So,
oh really? Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yep, it's tomorrow. The new cap tier 3s and cap tier 2s, and it's gonna be a little bit risky, like compared to like how it was before back in the day and how it is now. It's like completely different Node War than Siege.
Talking about Siege, I want to kind of go back a little bit. So you mentioned you joined your first Siege guild, and I want to talk about your time in Enemy and as the shot caller of Enemy for quite a long time. I'll preface a little bit because it's been a long time. It's been a very long time. Enemy used to be one of the strongest guild for a time, the strongest guild on the European server, and you were a part of it. You were a shot caller for some time. Like, if you want to just talk about your experience during those times, because those were really good times for BDO. I think there was a lot of good things going on.
Well, Enemy, that had happened also like complete coincidence. So there was like this guild, what was it called? Grind. And Grind disbanded, and the vast majority of them went to Harmony. And there was this small group around Cass, Zorlak, who wanted to go more small scale, CEO, and all the guys that would then become officers in Enemy. And they wanted to make a small scale PvP guild. And it was like meant as a guild where only really high geared and really good players are getting invited to. Yeah, there was Respo in there and like really the top players. So like always, I sneak my way in. Everyone, like, these guys thought that I'm actually a good Awakened Sorg player. If you watch on my YouTube channel, there's a video, a montage that I made about Red Battlefield back in 2016. So I didn't know how to play the class at all, but I grinded so much. Like, I outgeared these people in RBF so hard. It is not even possible anymore today to outgear people that hard. Like, if you run into a 700 U-score player with full pen to Valor, you have a better chance than the average players had against me in these Red Battlefields. Like, my Grim Reaper's Judgment just straight up one-shotted. Like, I've spawned the Black Hole and Akasha Nightmare into the enemy spawn in Red Battlefield, and just 20 people died. So, but the guys in Enemy, like, they thought that I'm actually a good player, so they invited me to it. And then we messed around as a small-scale guild, just placing Node Wars and just farming low-gear players. I still have the screenshot there. I think the most kills that are scored in a single Node War was more than 500 or something. Like, it was insane because the people had no gear and you could just go 1 versus 50. Like, there was also the messy times where some classes had Awakening, Awakening really early, other classes did not. It was like a tremendous, like the difference, yeah? Like, imagine you're playing a pre-Awakened class and you're running into an Awakened class. Yeah, so then let me scroll a bit forward. Zorlak was shot calling at the time when we decided to become a little more try-hard and try to actually make a proper Siege guild out of it, because with 16 people you could mess with other guilds and maybe you win a tier 2 Node or something, but you wouldn't have a say in Siege, especially not at this time. Sieges were extremely popular and really a lot of big guilds showed up to it. So then we started to invite people, and the guild grew. And then on one Saturday we had a Siege. Well, I think one of our first Sieges, and Zorlak, he couldn't come. He was shot calling for us and he couldn't show up. So I said, I'm gonna do it. I did it in ArcAge. I loved it in ArcAge. Like, ArcAge shot calling was, of course, entirely different because of targeting. You would really call out single targets. Even in you would have raid frames. You would call out single targets for your heals and stuff. I said, I'm gonna do it. So, and I apparently did a good job, and they asked me to keep doing it because Zorlak didn't want to do it. He wanted to focus on playing his Berserker and on gameplay, and he didn't want a shot call. He just did it because no one else would do it. So I said, yeah, I love it, and I will keep doing it. And then I basically, from this point on forward, my complete mindset towards BDO completely changed. Because before I was playing the game to get as strong as I can, get more gear and so on, and just develop my character. And afterwards, I completely stopped. Like when I became enemy shot caller, I completely stopped caring about my own gear and my own progression. Even like I made some full DP meme gear on my sword and stuff, but I stopped caring about my own character development and just lived for these sieges. Like I really lived for these sieges with enemy. I would spend every Saturday 5-6 hours scouting, talking to people, trying to figure out where can we build, because no matter where we place, everyone, every guild would just instantly go for us. They would just zerg us out. And I loved it. Yeah, I loved doing that, and yeah, it was fantastic times. They're really a lot of memories also.
Yeah, I don't know how people do it nowadays, but I remember back then it was amazing, but it was also so much work. Like there were dedicated people that would for like even the day before go around the building area to see if other guilds were building there. With of course Gillisuit trying to be as sneaky as possible. On my guild on old school we had like not spreadsheet, we had like Google documents with like multiple pages on how to siege specific castles, like the cannon position, the pushing stuff. I don't know if guilds are try-harding as much nowadays. I generally don't know because I haven't like properly played Siege in forever.
Depends on the guild, I guess. I guess the only guild that has like that kind of approach is probably Conquer when they were like practicing against
Russia.
Calphian. No, like a few weeks ago against, because they were fighting Unpred in Calphian, and obviously with the new Recov meta, it's really hard to push a castle, like one-on-one kind of thing, so... but other than that, I don't think we have that kind of stuff. Like nowadays, we kind of like all the Diplo is done throughout the week, and you kind of know where you're fighting, who you're fighting, what you're fighting for most guilds, because they have like everything essentially scripted, kind of, right? And then you just place, you kill the snipes, or you do on-point Diplo, and then that's kind of the thing.
Like the diplomacy changed from like some Game of Thrones kind of thing, where everyone was just looking out for himself. And even when there were alliances between guilds, and then when there was friendship between guilds, you always needed to watch out. Can you get backstabbed and stuff? Today, it's more like we are a happy family. The Siege community is just everyone's talking to each other, and they're like, okay, today they're basically building teams to create fair fights, or trying to, which takes out, of course, for me personally, the most important part of sieges, and why I did that for so long for enemy, and then after my departure there for Leviathan, which was I want to win, and I want to find a way to win that castle, because that castle meant something. Yeah, I didn't care about the rewards, the guild funds, especially at this time, whatever. I didn't care about that. I wanted to win, and I wanted to show everyone that I'm going to win, and that I can win, that I can overcome. For example, in enemy, there was a clear rule that I had as a shot caller, so like the chieftain and the other officers always told me, you can do whatever you want with these sieges. We place where you want us to place, and you can do the strategy as we do everything as you want it. But there's one thing that's a no-go, and you're not going to talk to other guilds, and you're not going to make any deal. You're not going to make any politics with anyone. We built there, and we just you have to find a way to win that. If you do that, if you have to do that, if you have to basically fight the entire siege scene every single week. And then after weeks of getting zerged and of the frustration, the drama that comes with it, all the egos, especially in enemy, like they getting nervous, we got zerged again, we get shit on here, and so on. And then you suddenly, you take that castle. That is the reward. If you then finally actually manage to win. Today, you win a castle, you click the reward button, you get your 3 billion of resources, which is completely irrelevant because you can also spend that time grinding centaurs and would have probably made twice as much. Probably even more because you wouldn't have to spend anything on consumables. no one is like, wow, we won this castle. People are cheering. Like the first time we won a castle with Leviathan, people were freaking out on voice comms. Yeah? The people couldn't even believe that. People were screaming. Like that is what video gaming is about in the end. Yeah, like the win needs to matter and needs to matter in the community. That's why we play even multiplayer games, not because of their shitty rewards.
I think there's a lack of conflict. One of the most epic memories I have of BDO that is not my memory is from you, Jules. It's the in Calphion, Sovereign versus Enemy, where you shot cold. I think you remember which one. There's an incredibly epic siege where you say not so many nice words to Sovereign after like a very very intense siege, but that was incredible. Honestly, that was super hype.
Yeah, there were two sieges back to back. It was when all three guilds, Ember, Sovereign, and Enemy, we had all around 50 players.
Yeah.
And Enemy took actually the castle from old school, the Calvin Castle, which took us 2 weeks. The first week we didn't manage to break in. There was just a stalemate, but back at this time, the castle owner still had to take out all attacking forts. The time was up, territory got liberated, and then the week after there was fort versus fort fight, and we won that and took the first castle. And then Sovereign built, because most people at this time would say that Enemy is rank 1 and rank 2. I think Addicted was still around with like 100 people, and they were in Valencia. So I think like after Addicted, it was like Sovereign, Ember, and Enemy. And Sovereign attacked that castle, the Calphion castle of ours, and Ember placed 2. Now, Ember, you would now expect that Ember and Sovereign would together attack the enemy inside the castle. But Ember wanted to show what they are made of and went for Sovereign. So I was like, all right, I take it. Yeah. So I teamed up, like that was allowed. Like I was allowed to play along other guilds, just not allowed to talk to them. So, okay, guys, we take out Sovereign. So we took out Sovereign 2v1. Ember went for the castle 1v1. Because they wanted to show everyone that they can take enemies' castle 1v1, and we completely and absolutely wasted them. Like we took that fort of them down after I think 25 minutes. Yeah. That was really really good siege. Like there was the hit and run that we played with that enemy team combo. We didn't have many witches and wizards that we played against Ember that day. They didn't know what was going on. And then the week after, Sovereign came back. And this time they got their 1v1. They placed on the turtle position south of the lake, here inside the castle. I had this absolutely, like, my plan was, and that was, by the way, it was in hindsight a game changer for Siege in general. Because this day was the day when I was at our castle Saturday afternoon and thinking about our strategy. I was like, why would we close the gate? We are the castle defender. But what do we have from closing the gate? They can just kill it. When we open the gate, they have to run into the choke point and we can keep the gate. At this time, no castle owner did that. Everyone like just had the gate closed. Because you want to keep the castle, it's just, logical. But in BDO, sieges, things are a little bit different. So we opened the gate and Sovereign had to push in instantly. And into the meat grinder, and we farmed them one fight after the other. And at the base, and I moved our elephants all the way around the lake, so that when we push out for the first time, we could command together on our flag that was placed, and their base was basically naked. And that's how we won that siege in 45 minutes. And that's why I was so hyped after winning that, because that plan that I made for hours that evening just worked out absolutely perfect. That was definitely one of the, I wouldn't say there were more legendary sieges, but that was definitely one of the best.
Awesome. Just a quick thing I want to go over a little bit is obviously after like your time in Enemy and stuff like that, you made your own guild. I think it was Unlucky.
No. Time? After my time in Enemy, I went to Leviathan.
Oh yeah, Leviathan, and then you made your own guild after Leviathan, right?
Yeah, Easy Street.
Easy Street. Right. Yeah, that's what it was called. Yeah, because that was around the podcast times, right? I think around that kind of thing. Where your enhancing times, where you were pushing your enhancing stuff and things like that. Did you enjoy having your own guild and that kind of thing? Like, do you miss that kind of stuff? Because I know you're part of Flex now, I think. Do you miss being in charge of a guild or anything like that?
That is a difficult question. I don't think that I could do that now. Like what I did, that was in early 2018, by the way. So just quickly, just so that people know, in summer 2017, I departed from Enemy because Ember merged into them, and the Ember people, they didn't like my shot calling. During the talks between Ember and Enemy for Ember to merge into, the leader of Ember digitally asked Zorlak straight up if it's okay when his members are muting me during the sieges, and he is then telling his members what I'm calling. And Zorlak told him, no, that is not okay. You can't mute our shot caller. So I was in that talk too. I was like, I was a little bit more shy at this time. Like, if that would happen today, I would just tell him to I'm not gonna say it. I would react differently. Yeah, I would just react differently to that. But in that moment, I knew there's gonna be trouble. And then that is basically, and many people don't know that, in that summer is basically when my enhancing stream started. Because I started to enhance and have a drink or two and start talking to my plant. And while doing these streams, I lost my rate, and I lost the backup of the enemy, of a lot of enemy members, especially also Zorlak and so on. What happened then is that my stream would grow, my stream would grow. Before I would only do shot calling streams, and now my daily streams would grow, and I would spend less time for sieges. And what happens then is the people know you're spending as a shot caller less time in preparing the sieges. Things go wrong, you do a mistake, and I did a mistake, I forgot what it was, but I did a really big mistake, and then boom, I knew that was it. And then I joined Leviathan, then I shot called for Leviathan. And then early 2018, when my Friday enhancing streams were already going, then I made my own guild, Easy Street. At this time, in early 2018, I did nothing else. Before, even when I was tryharding in video games, I still had somewhat like a real life. Like I met friends, I went out. In that time, in early 2018, I did nothing else but preparing my Friday enhancing streams and managing that guild, Easy Street. And I did that for about 6 months. And in summer 2018, there was a siege when my streams community guild progressed so far that we ended up fighting Sovereign in Serendia. And during the stream, I got up, I sat down at my window, I grabbed the beer, like live on stream. I smoked a cigarette, and in that moment I said, so far, and now you're gonna take a break, and now you're gonna go back out there into the real world and do something else. Because the tremendous amount of work that went into these Friday, a lot of people don't know how much preparation there was in these Friday enhancing streams and getting them done every Friday evening. That was absolutely insane. My sleeping schedule, even what I ate, like I had a timer exactly on a Friday when I have to eat, take a nap afterwards, when I have my first drink, so that I'm absolutely ready, 8 p.m. sharp, there's a countdown, and then the party starts, and then the party goes on for 4 or 5 hours, and there's just pure energy. That took so much preparation and everything, and in that summer, it was just too much, like managing that guild. I mean, most people in Easy Street, they had like 350 gear score, yeah, and that we even managed to win a territory was already a really big surprise. And for one person to manage all of this, it was just too much. There were a lot of people who asked me to help me out. There were a lot of helpful players, but it's also like trusting someone else with doing something, like they do something wrong, and I'm like, no, not like this. We have to do it like this and that. Like it's, I want to do these things. Then I want to be then really in charge and control it. And I'm not so good in just trusting someone else with something that I think that I can do better. Sadly, the Easy Street thing went actually it fell apart also for a change that probably was applied to sieges. And I am pretty sure that they applied this change because of Easy Street.
Really?
Okay. What was the
I'm
change?
not really 100. Like,
Okay,
it's
what's
of
the
course,
change?
you know,
Yeah,
it was
curious,
years
curious.
ago. And if you think about it, if you think about the memories, if you think about, like, if you think about things that happened years ago, you often, you know, there's some kind of, it
You
might
can
not
mix it up,
happen
yeah.
or not go down like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're mixing things up. But that actually is a story about your old guild leader, Pestle.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Pestle was watching my stream. We had like 80 people in the node war, in a tier 2 node war, yeah, in Easy Street. And we got farmed by 20 people. Yeah, completely farmed. We got the people like really, they had absolutely no gear, yeah. So after my stream, Pestle was watching that. Pestle comes to me and is like, you know what? Why don't you tell all your plebs, yeah, go to the marketplace and buy DP gear. At this time, there were no shies in the game. No one ran DP gear like full DP carpets weren't a thing in Node Wars and Sieges. So DP gear, like Centaur spell, it cost like nothing. So Pestle said, you know, just tell your members, buy medkits and be a meat shield. Just stay alive. Jump in, just run. Everyone runs 400 DP, no AP, and just stay alive, CC as many as you can, and medkit people back up. I made a Discord post and said, guys, okay, you can run this build, that build. It costs 200 million, yeah. And you're gonna have more fun in these sieges because you're not gonna die instantly, yeah. You're not gonna kill anything anyways. You're just dying, and then if you run that, or if you now get that DP gear, which doesn't cost much, you're gonna stay alive. You're gonna have more fun with this. And I didn't expect too many people to actually go for it, but there were dozens. Like people were actually, there was a kind of competition in Easy Street between players who has more DP. And the absurd amount of players that were absolutely unkillable in that siege was absolutely insane. Everyone used medkits. And we were a zombie army. We were really a zombie army. You couldn't kill us. Like you could kill the squishy players of us. We had a few high geared players in between as well. But the siege that we won in Balinos, or I forgot which guild we defeated in that one we won. They straight up said like, you can't take that guild out because you kill. They had a few players less than us. You kill half of them. The other half you can't kill. And then you're dropping a few players, and then they're suddenly all just standing up again because they're getting medkitted. In the middle of the fight, some Woosa that started to play the game 1 month ago just dashed to you and medkitted you back up, and it was absolutely hilarious. When Easy Street was still going, and when we had that strategy running and going for us, Protobus did the change that medkits are no longer allowed in Node Wars and Sieges.
Yeah, I don't know if it was for Easy Street, but
100% was.
I mean, with most of the top guilds were like try-harding medkits in Node War, and there was one of the biggest difference between the top guilds and the guilds that weren't as committed to Node War. I think their reasoning at the time, if I remember correctly, was that medkits were not a very clear mechanic for new players. I think that's what they said, which it's in a way it's true, but it's also bullshit. Like I still resent them for doing that, because I think Node and Siege like dropped in quality a lot after they removed medkits. I think it was a really cool mechanic.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So the removal of medkits changed sieges entirely, because before, when you had if two raids faced off, let's say it's a 1v1, both raids 100 players each, they facing off in the middle between their forts. Now, before medkits, your job was to win that fight. It didn't really matter how overwhelmingly you won it. You could lose 60 players. If you won that fight, you were the one medkitting, and you could get everyone back up, and you would have the advantage now. Afterwards, if you have only 30 players alive and the rest needs to wait for the respawn, it's coming back in 1 minute, nothing changes, because these 30 players can't put pressure on the enemy base. And if they wait for their respawn, the enemy team will have their respawn too, and everything starts from scratch. So the removal of resurrection spells and medkits from sieges it changed sieges for the worse, in my opinion, because that was like basically the start where it wasn't about the raid versus raid fights anymore. Before, like a long time ago, sieges were all about the raid versus raid fights, and people people prepared for to get as good as possible in their engages, in their PA rotations, and so on. And today, like especially today with that recovery center change and the respawn timers, sieges are not really anymore about the raid versus raid fights and getting good at it. Sieges are more about spam your consumables and run in and blow up as many because you're respawning after 7 seconds anyways. Like there's so much happened between this time when they removed before they removed medkits and today when it comes to sieges. And in my opinion, absolutely not for the better in general. In the way sieges got handled throughout the last years, sometimes I'm absolutely speechless when it comes to that. It's a chain of events that started, I think, back in end of 2016 when they started to change the sandbox style of sieges, where you could just place everywhere and you could own all castles and in both territories, Balanos and Serendia as well. And basically trying to make it more fair, trying to make it more balanced, locking the top guilds into their castle, and it, in the end just made sieges so much worse.
At the Calvin, not the Calvin Ball, sorry, the Voice of Adventure, right, in Amsterdam, I got to speak with one of the developers from Korea, one of the PA members from Korea, and I actually mentioned this, like how much Nodor and Siege got worse essentially over time, and he told me that one of the biggest issues that they face is cultural difference. It's not like any region matters more than any other, right? Like it's not we are more important or Korea is more important. I remember one thing when I talked to the Korean player in one of my first interviews, he told me that Korean players think that PA balances around EU and NA.
I remember that interview.
NA and EU thinks that PA balances around Korea. You know, it's always like a pointing finger situation. So it's essentially it's impossible for them to truly balance the game because there's always one region fucking things up, you know. There's always one region be like, oh, we're gonna abuse this mechanic and we're gonna make the game not fun. So it's hard. It's so hard for them to like actually make Nodor and Siege fair and fun for everyone. Because the content itself, it's also incredibly hard to get into because you need to be somewhat decent at PvP, right? Like, we might not think that there's a high entry to Siege and Nodor, but for your average player, like your average gamer that maybe wants to get into it, like imagine how much of an insurmountable wall it looks like. You start the game, you have to grind hundreds of hours, you have to learn your class, you have to have a good computer, and you have to like join a guild that does these things, and like it's almost impossible for like a new player to join Siege. So Siege is like gets less and less players, there's less and less interest, and of course PA puts less effort into it because why would they put resources in a content that people don't play?
Like I can imagine that there are issues with the cultural differences between the regions, but there are certain incidences where no one can argue that was like.
Oh yeah, I'm not defending some dumb decisions. Some things are straight up stupid.
But you know, like the militia system, for example, was the damaged guild identity back in days because there was suddenly that militia carrying one guild, and what that took away was that people stopped caring. So a guild takes a castle because of the militia, and people were like, well, that was because of the militia. Then I think 1 year later or so, they took the militia system out and replaced it with an even worse system, which was the unlimited war hero system, which completely ruined guild identity. And that was the time when people completely stopped caring about who won the castles. Before that, the drive that people had, why so many people followed sieges that didn't participate in sieges, why the podcasts were so popular, like the Siege podcast on A and EU, both Siege podcasts were so popular, people followed it, was because you heard the word sovereign, you knew what guild it was, it meant something. And there were like so many guilds around that just had an identity. And then with these systems, they ruined that guild identity entirely, and it didn't really come back. Today, I don't really see, for me, not even, for example, Conquer has really an identity, because it's the lights of 4 guilds, and I don't know, it's like you don't care about if they win or if they lose somewhere or something. Like one of the guilds that really still has an identity, in my opinion, is Unpredictable. Like Unpredictable is always so like they are going for a long time. Voss, for example, is maybe another example, but the rest of the guilds are basically making it's smaller guilds making alliances. And then there's suddenly a complete new alliance popping up, and yeah, it's now these guilds are fighting together, and you're like, okay, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things before was like rivalry and stuff like that, but nowadays, like everyone who was enemies of each other are now in the same guild, and everyone plays with each other, kind of thing. So it's not really that like solve enemy, kind of thing that we have in the game anymore. And I think we had this the last podcast as well. I think the alliance system is making that worse. I think you're right when it started with like basically like I think it was like Kuji taking the castle every week in Calphium because they brought like 80 mercs and stuff like that, and they would just kill everyone because the mercs would just go wild. And then nowadays we have the alliance system, and there's not really like you have End, crazy strong guild, but it's not like the entire alliance is End, right? The entire alliance is multiple guilds, whereas like you said, Unpred is Unpred, like it's all Unpred and it's all Voss and stuff like that. So, do you want to talk about a little bit about your enhancing Fridays? So,
about my enhancing Fridays, I love talking about my enhancing Fridays.
So, your enhancing Fridays are obviously like a massive thing, especially for EU. Like everyone looked forward to every Friday. It was like super excited. Will he get his pen this week? Will he not? I know myself and a lot of people are genuinely like really looking forward to that kind of stuff.
I was so invested into that pen.
Very, very. How was the feeling for you? Like, how did you, when you like, let's say your first, like the first when you got that pen, like what was like going through your mind and stuff like that?
When I got that pen,
you got your first pen.
In that moment, I can't really recall what was. It was probably very mixed feelings. As much as I wanted to hit, as much as I wanted to hit that, and as much as I was like kind of relieved to get that, there was also already in that moment that thought about now it's all over.
Okay.
As much as I wanted that pen, and I wanted that moment, and I wanted to feel the reaction of the Twitch chat in front of 2,000-3,000 viewers when I hit that pen. As much as I wanted that moment, there was always the fear: what if it's all over afterwards? If you don't get these streams done anymore, if you can't build up that hype anymore. Every Saturday morning, the clips of me failing a pen were on Reddit the most upvoted post. Yeah, the PMs I woke up to, the amount of followers that I gained at this time. I think I got in half a year, I got like 20,000 followers or something, and in the last 4 years, I got 10 or so. Like in that moment when I hit that pen, there were some kind of mixed feelings, and I didn't really know how to react to that. It was the perfect ending, because the way I got it, using the lemon tree thingy that people use still today to enhance. That I got it this way. It was the perfect ending to that journey, definitely.
Going back to what you said about like that feeling of what if it's all over now, or like what next, I think it's extremely common when you're a content creator. I think you did still find like a success in the dandy afterward, right? You did the pen dandy.
Like the enhancements, like that was like I hit that in April or May 2018. The enhancing streams I kept doing until the end of 2019. Until end of 2019, I kept doing them, and they were till the end successful. Like especially in the rest of 2018, I would still frequently hit 1K plus viewers with these streams, and people would still look forward to it. Especially like the week after I hit that Pendendalion, then after like 3 clicks, if I remember correctly, like really fast. Yeah. And then the Nuver took me 276 again. But especially like the week after I hit that pen, that first pen, then that was the week where I was really relieved, because the stream was basically no different than the week before. And that was when I realized that even when there were probably a lot of people who just cared about that first pen and just cared about that big face deck, there were still hundreds, not thousands of people out there that were just genuinely interested in in my content and how I create it, and they don't really care if I click on a Zaga or if I click on a Dandelion, and if it's 300 stacks or 180 stacks. They want to see all the stuff that I do on the side. They want to see the dancing. They want to get entertainment and the actual enhancement. They just don't really care about. That is also when I realized that during that first pen session, like when I went for that pen Zaga, everything was planned into the detail. Yeah, of course, throughout the night it changed. But my second screen, there were like I spent every Friday hours searching for songs and how to enhance them, and I used like little posters, little letters on my second screen where I wrote down for which enhancement I'm gonna use it. So, for example, I had like this amazing song, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be a pen song, yeah. So, but if I didn't get a pen attempt until 11 p.m., then that post-it would swap to a TED attempt because I didn't want to miss out on not using that song in case I don't get a pen attempt. So, like, there was some afterwards, after I hit that pen, it was I did that all more. I was basically I just go online at 8, and then we just have some fun, and that worked out. Just as good, I think. I think before I made a little too much drama around being prepared there.
It's worth it. I think some people underestimate how much thought sometimes goes behind content and things that maybe like they feel like natural, or like they feel like something that just comes up on the moment, but it's actually pre-planned and like thought out for quite some time actually.
Yeah, I just feel like that. Like during the first pen journey, I pushed myself a little bit too much into, for example, I got nervous when I ran out of materials.
Yeah,
when I ran out of material, like getting materials at this time, that is another story.
It wasn't easy. No?
I mean, there was no central marketplace, and you had to snipe sharps, you had to snipe hearts. You couldn't even think about sniping memory fragments. I ran 100 to 200 Pilafy scrolls every Friday afternoon. But getting my hands on these sharp like crystal sharps. Like every Thursday, I closed my daily stream a little earlier so that I have time sniping sharp like crystal sharps from marketplace. And if I didn't have enough, then I set an alarm to 7 a.m. on the Friday to keep sniping for another 2 or 3 hours.
Jesus.
So that wasn't so. But after I hit that first pan, like before it happened as well that I ran out of materials, but after I hit that, I was like, whatever. If I don't have enough, I don't have enough. And then people watched me for 2 hours sniping sharp like crystal shards on a Friday evening on stream, and they still had a good time. Yeah,
for sure.
Gifting was a thing back then, by the way. I think it's fair to say gifting was a thing, and I think
but
you
only
got a
early
fair
on.
amount of artisans.
Only early on. It got
removed,
It got removed way before I hit the first pen.
One thing I definitely remember watching the stream was like me thinking, "Holy shit, he must be grinding every day just for this day. Just to get here. He must be grinding every day just for this."
Yeah, when I heard the announcement that gifting got getting disabled, I got kind of nervous. And before that, there was especially one person. I think he gifted me a total of more than 2,000 artisan memory by himself. Like insane amounts. Like there was one. He didn't even come on a Friday. He came on a Thursday evening. I was grinding Bandit. And he's like, check your mailbox, 100 artisans. Check your mailbox again, 100 artisans. Check your mailbox again. And in the end, it was like 400 or 500 artisans. And I was like, all right, that's going to be a good Friday evening. And the thing is,
I got a lot of Bleach gifted.
During these streams, when people realize that I'm running out of memory fragments here and I don't have artisans anymore, mailbox full again with artisans. Like these streams wouldn't have been, this continuous clicking wouldn't have been possible without the support and without that gifting. Definitely, it was a lot more work. After that gifting got disabled.
I think that's the beauty of Black Desert and MMOs in general. They're really like, you can really feel a community, and you can really feel like a story and a narrative playing out, and the memories. Like all these things are things that happen in the game. They are part of the story of the game. I think it's quite beautiful, and you can't really find that in many other games or even MMOs.
Yep.
Like I think BDO is especially good at creating these type of memories, like the siege memories that we talked about earlier.
Thinking back on MMOs I played before, there are memories and there are maybe legendary moments, but it's nothing comparable to these years in BDO, especially between 2017 and like 2020.
I'm not even sure why, because BDO back then was even more scuffed game than, than now. Like, I generally don't know how BDO managed to create that spark, that magic.
But that was also the
early
beauty
years.
of it in many ways. Like if every time now I enhance and I see that enhancing window, I tell people I couldn't have made my streams with that enhancing window. With these confirmation windows, please type in your fail stack. This item is tagged. Are you really sure? Yes, just do it. Like what was back in the day? There was a small widget. On the left side was your item, and on the right side was the stone, or the other way around. And then there was a button, go for it. Yeah, and there was no confirmation that you could skip or not, and that was it. And that, of course, that like today with that window, no.
That created a lot of clips of people.
It would have taken a lot away from these streams.
Yeah, it created a lot of clips of people clicking on 0 fail stacks.
Yep.
Or people clicking Reblat on 200 fail stacks because there was no confirmation.
But why not? Let them.
Yeah, 100%. I absolutely agree with you.
Stacks or blow up their stuff. Like, I mean, what's so difficult? Can't people in 2022 watch out for some little fail stack there?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it can happen anymore. It probably can't happen anymore. But if you play the game, back then, you know the feeling of clicking, like you're fail stacking on your plus 14 Reblat. You click on it. And then you see the fail stack, and it's like plus 97, and like you get a heart skip. You know, holy shit, that didn't succeed. Thank fucking god.
Yeah.
I think it happened at least to me. It happened a few times, more than I care to admit, probably.
One of my biggest goals was to get to 60 fate stacks on from 0 to 60 fate stacks.
I remember.
I did that every weekend. I blew up thousands of black stones trying to do that, and then it actually worked at some point. Or it was 50 or so. Like I didn't even know enhancement chances and stuff. Like
no one knew.
We had like was it like a Google document or something, or like a spreadsheet of like guess the
which wasn't too far off. It wasn't too far off from what it is today. I would say enough boomer shit. We are old. We get it. Let's talk about something new. Woosa. Any Woosa enjoyer?
I enjoyed her a lot.
Yes.
But I'm also like basically the content that I have now is learning new classes and teaching people new classes because I don't do enhancing anymore. Sieges no content, especially if you're not short calling. So like new class getting released in my stream is kind of popping off, and I get a lot more viewers and people are really interested in that. And I have a lot of fun, trying out new classes and learning new classes. I'm getting old too. Instead of dancing and getting drunk, I now try to figure out the best cancels and the best combo and the perfect add-ons and stuff like this. And I even liked Succession Dracania PvE. I was probably the only person in the world that liked Succession Dracania PvE when it got released, but I liked it Awakened Dracania anyways. And now Woosa, I was positively surprised because I had that feeling. Well, so I wanted Megu. So I saw that mobile trailer of Megu and I wanted Megu. But then Woosa got released and of course they're gonna play it, good streaming content, new class and stuff. And then I was very positively surprised how the class plays in PvE. It's busted in my opinion, but it's also very, very enjoyable and the flows and stuff. It's really, really good. I really like the class a lot. Did you guys play it?
Yeah.
Yep. I think we both played it, right? Quite a fair bit actually. PvP, PvE. I don't know if you grinded a lot on it, Heedun, or not, but...
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I essentially almost only grinded with Woosa because I want to try her out on Solare because she seems actually fairly strong. I see some people doing well on it, but I don't want to like completely int without knowing how the class works very well. Because she also just got the Rabams and the C skills. So I'm not too sure how to approach the class in PvP quite yet. But in Solare, like the 100% especially, looks super, super strong.
I've been enjoying grinding. I only grind like Ash Forest right now, but she's pretty decent at Ash Forest. Like high burst to blast the mobs really quickly and move pack to pack and stuff like that. Where are you grinding on her right now, Jules? Like, what are your usual grind spots at the moment on her?
I grind a lot of Hexy early on, but I also like her at Jade Starlight Forest. That was actually a spot that I didn't like on any class that I grinded before since that spot got released. But now on Woosa actually likes the Jade Starlight Forest. It's a really enjoyable spot on her because she's really she's really good if she doesn't have to move every 3 seconds between the camp. Like if you always have your forward F ready when you have to move between camps, then that's where and then you just stand there like a tower and you just nuke. That's where she's really good at. And so spots like Jade Starlight Forest, Guyfin of course, but also Hexy. These are the spots that I'm grinding. Most likely, like the spot that I like the most is Hexy because something is happening the entire time. The best thing that happened to BDO in the recent years is that instead of doing circles, now things are happening when grinding. Like a boss spawns.
That's true.
Like it feels so good, yeah. The boss spawns, yeah, nice. Instead of just running in a circle, now you have something to do. You fight that boss, and you get the boss buff maybe, and then you grind extremely fast. The Raging Souls event, like you come to a spot at Hexy, like to a camp, and there are like a million mobs, and especially on Musa, then you just jump into the middle and you start rotating your skills, and everything explodes around you. I love that. Hexy is definitely my most favorite spot in the game, which is the first time that in BDO a spot that is actually good silver is also a spot that I like, because usually I would grind True Mine or Desert Fogans when everyone else was in Hysteria, because I always hated Hysteria.
Oh, I was just gonna jump on a different thing for a second, and you watched Calcium Ball, I guess, and the new things that they announced. So because you're someone who enjoys like rotations, like you said, you go for Desert Fogans instead of Hysteria, and you really love Hex and stuff like that. How do you feel about the future content where it's going to be like a boss that we fight? Are you looking towards that kind of? Are you looking forward to that kind of stuff?
The so-called boss rush.
Yeah, basically. How do you feel about that? I have no
idea how that's supposed to work.
I don't think anyone knows.
But do you like the idea of like fighting a boss rather than lots of mobs?
Yeah, with actual mechanics, I like that a lot. Yeah, what can I do is that solo? Like I know so little about it. Like I like mechanics and watching out for stuff, and that is instead of just doing circles. Yeah, I'm definitely. When it comes to the changes in grinding so far, they're on a good way, probably, I think, and I think that the idea of a whole new region with that boss rush system, I think that is a really good idea.
One of my favorite PvE content was the Pit of the Undying, which is essentially it's bosses with mechanics.
Yeah,
and,
I played it a bit, but then I forgot about it.
Yeah, everyone forgot about it. Even Perlabis, especially Perlabis. And that's incredibly tragic. It's incredibly tragic because I think that was like one of the ways for them to like really push BDO mechanic, and like because the BDO combat has an amazing depth. It's like as one of the biggest depth of most MMOs out there, but it's not utilized. It's not utilized at all. I hope they manage to do something similar, but maybe more successful. I think one of the reasons why people don't play Pit of the Undying is because the rewards are just not good.
Well, what are the rewards? You still get an XP coupon, but you need to play for 6 months, right? I think it's a long time. 6 months of daily Pit of the Undying, and you get an experience exchange coupon. Rewards in BDO for this kind of stuff are tricky anyways, when people go on a season succession berserker to Centaurus and get 1 billion silver per hour.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy to me that they like PA is okay with doing that, but they're not okay with giving rewards for PvP. They're not okay with giving rewards for like Pit of the Undying, or like, I mean, I guess it's in the PvP section, but team battles. Team battles.
Oh, that thing.
99% of the people that play BDO don't know what team battles is. I don't know. It's weird. But what are you looking forward for BDO, or just content or anything else really?
Mego. I can't wait for Mego.
I haven't watched too much of the mobile combat. I assume it's gonna be the same as mobile, right?
Based on what they've done previous with classes, like succession classes and stuff, they're usually a lot different. Like if you look at Suck Witch on mobile, she has like fire dashes and stuff, but on PC she plays a lot differently. So a lot should be the same, hopefully.
But okay, so we have a segment where we ask the guest what his favorite song is, and we're gonna create a playlist on Spotify with all the songs from the guest. What is your favorite song? I kind of hope you... Well, actually, you don't have to say the Lemon Tree, okay? You can say whatever... You don't have to. You can say whatever song you want. Don't feel pressured to say...
Okay, Guns N' Roses Civil War.
Alright. Okay.
Okay.
So that's gonna be added to this playlist that I haven't made already, because it would be only 2 songs from you and Armin. But it will be made, I swear, soon, and the link will be in the description, as well as the link of the social media of all these beautiful people. Jules, you wanna do a shout out to, well, your socials, of course, and like any closing words?
Any closing words? Thanks for inviting me, and if people wanna find me, then you will find me on twitch.tv/DJulesTV. I'm not their social media kind of person, which is not a good thing for a streamer, but
I feel you.
That's just how I am, and I just don't like. I don't know. I like if I go to Twitter, I don't know what to tweet, and then I close Twitter again for the next 3 months. But yeah.
It's very relatable
for me. Find me on Twitch. Find me on Twitch. That's where the fun is.
Hell yeah. All right,
awesome.
Perfect.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you, Jules. Thank you, Heedun. You guys are amazing. And I look forward to seeing you all next time. So enjoy the rest of your evening and take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.